I'm Ronnie Lowe Life Coach, Ronnie Lowe Habit Coach. My real name is Ronnie Loaiza. And in this episode, we talk about the generalities of habit forming and what habits really are. Habits are your identity. And we talk about that. It's like, ooh, you might get some resistance on that. We talk about how you are your habits and how habits drive your day. They drive your way, they drive your life. And we kind of went off on a little bit on the difference between habits and routines and how long it takes to form habits and a few other little life topics.
Hello again and welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Online Prosperity Show. And today we have a special guest who's joining us for the very second time. I'm really excited about today's show. Now, Ronnie, how are you doing?
I am doing great. And I love how you say my name. I can't even imitate you, but I know to you, you don't have an accent, but to me, you do. And it's beautiful and charming. I'm Ronnie, but I love how you say my name.
Ronnie, absolutely. Okay, fantastic. It's the second time I've been saying that now on the show. So, yeah, definitely. I will be learning. Hopefully, we have you again for the third time now.
3 times the charm. Thing is, I follow you. We're friends. We're connections. And that's just it. We're connections on LinkedIn. So when I see you post or I see others with you, it's, I comment, I read them. And same thing, you follow me. And it's been over a year since I was on your podcast. And we decided to get back together because I mentioned something. I don't even remember what it was, but it was in a comment. And you saw that I've evolved. I mean, I've really grown. And that's just it. I'm a solopreneur. And a lot of us have been growing and evolving. That's what we do. So I love being back.
Absolutely. Well, I can't wait to meet the new and improved Ronnie here, because at the end of the day, when we last spoke, we were talking about how you've been also helping other people make bold and lasting changes in their lives. And now you've gone on and retooled and reskilled, and now you're helping people with habits and how to actually do and have a happier existence. And as human beings, we're creatures of habits. If we can control that, or if we can actually use them to our advantage, we definitely can improve our businesses, improve ourselves, and improve our relationships. And that's the reason why when you responded back to that post, I was like, wait a minute, there's something different about this. Let's bring her back on the show and get to learn more. So a lot of people that we come across, Ronnie, you would notice they just spinning their wheels, chasing shiny objects, and just not fulfilling their role as a business person, husband, wife, or whatever it is that they're supposed to be doing, because most of those things require us to engage in tasks, and sometimes people procrastinate, or they don't actually fulfill or go ahead and do those tasks. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about that and how people can actually utilize their skill sets and also habits to do and have a life that's well lived. Now, I could go on and talk about all of these things, but you're the expert in this whole, scenario. For those that are meeting you for the very first time, just give us an overview of who you are and what it is that you've been working on, Ronnie.
Well, since we last spoke, I have leveled up even more in my life coaching. I go by Ronnie Lowe Life Coach. That's what I am on LinkedIn. That's my website, because one of my clients said Ronnie Lowe, like J Lo, and he said Ronnie Lowe Life Coach. That sounds great. I'm like, I'll take it. So I go by Ronnie Lowe Life Coach, and I am now a master certified professional coach. But also, I saw that. Well, I've always been intrigued by habits, even before the atomic habits, the tiny habits, even before then, Pavlovian. We've always studied habits. And I saw way back when, before I was a life coach, when I was a personal trainer, and even before then, when I was in public relations, I really saw how most everything was a series of habits. It's also your habitual way of thinking. I'm now also a certified habit coach. Went through an institution, Habit Coach Pro, that's based out of Sweden, because I really wanted to study it and learn about it. And then I decided to become certified. But even in public relations or anything I ever did, I noticed that most of it is a series of habits. We are our habits from the second you get up in the morning to the second you go to bed at night. Meta studies show, and you can look this up, these are a grouping of studies from different countries, different eras, different generations. They put it together. They do one big look at a meta study. It shows that 40 to 50%, half your day, 40 to 50% of your day, no matter who you are, that is looking at me and listening to this right now, 40 to 50% of your day is a series of habits. So when we say you are your habits, I have gotten, Prosper, I have gotten people that say, well, no, I'm more than my habits, because you think at first it's a little resistance, like, well, no, it's not just about brushing my teeth or my bad habit. Slow down. Just look at it. What you do drives your day. And yes, we all know it's also your being. Yes, it is your being. But what little things do you do, and how are you habitually? That is you. That describes you. Of course, that encompasses your core values, your thoughts, how you grow. All of that is in there. It doesn't negate the fact that you are your habits. That's your identity. Of course, you're growing. Your identity is evolving. It's who you are at the core. You know who you are. And let's say you're writing a script for a play or a book. Don't we get to know the characters in our favorite series, in our favorite movies, by the little things and how they do them? Their quirks, their characteristics. Yes, you say, when you're casting something, blue eyes, 5'2", and blah, blah, blah. But we get to know the character by their vibe, by how they say things, by their tone of voice, how they carry themselves. It's all in there. It's who they are. That's how they habitually carry themselves. The same actor is always the same actor, and they bring themselves into that role. Even Meryl Streep, everybody thinks that she's the biggest chameleon. Yes, because her core, Meryl, is in there. It's in there. But then she takes on the quirks, the tone of voice, the habitual tone of voice, the habitual quirks of that role that she just studied. See what I'm saying? So we get to know people. People describe you by how you habitually are. And it's interesting, and please chime in, Prosper, when you want to, because I'm so passionate about this. But it's interesting how we are in the habit of reacting to different people different ways. We are in the habit of communicating in a certain way, especially in different situations. We are in the habit of expressing ourselves in a certain way. We're in the habit of being different around different people. I'm different. I'm very coquettish and flirty and kind of, with my husband. I'm not going to be that way with a new client or, with my old boss, or, we're in the habit of carrying ourselves in a different way. So please look at the first resistance, like, I'm more than my habits. We'll talk about it, because really question yourself, how am I in the habit of doing things? Yes, you're more than your routines, is what we find out. You're more than just, I clear out the cat litter at this time, and I put away the dishes. We're not our routines. We're our habits. And there's a difference.
Absolutely. And thank you so much. I could just really hear the passion oozing out, from that passionate response. Now, I just wanted to bring you back a little bit, because you did say 40 to 50% of our day is very much conducted in our own habits. That's almost half a day that we're probably not recognizing or actually influencing the events and activities that happen there. And I think this should be something that a lot of people should be cognizant of. But from what you're saying, it sounds like a habit is just maybe a shortcut to do things. Now, maybe you can, obviously, you've gone on and studied this. Can you maybe define what a habit is? Just so that we've got some sort of a starting ground of what this looks, because half your day without you recognizing what you're doing, I think it's something that you really need to pay attention to.
Well, that's just it. If somebody's watching this or listening to this, think about it. You don't think about your habits. Why? Because it's innate. It's inherent in you. So you don't have to think about it anymore. It comes from the part of the brain that's your subconscious. Something that you do consciously, you have to think about to do it. Okay, when am I going to do this? I have an intention. Your habits you do subconsciously, so you don't have to think about it. I'm not saying that you don't use your brain, you zombie through, like brushing your teeth or, whatever, but you don't really have to give it much attention or much thought. It's more automatic. That comes from your automatic brain. Those are the habits. To create a new habit, I link it to. I say habit chaining, and that was way before Atomic Habits came out, and now they call it habit stacking. I don't personally, just Ronnie, don't like stacking because I feel like I'm piling things on. I like habit chaining. You're linking it to something you already do. So you're not adding more to a busy day. The thing is, you mentioned shiny object syndrome. When we see all these great tips and hacks and how-tos, and this is a big one when I was a personal trainer, which I still am, a certified personal trainer, and I bring that into my coaching because a lot of people, they come to me for one thing and we always end up working on different aspects of their lives, various aspects of their lives, because your self-care, your wellness, your fitness, your eating, your health affects your relationships, they affect your career, they affect your work. So everything affects the other aspect of your life. All aspects impact the other aspect in one way or another, a little bit or a lot. So anyway, back to that, not that I want to lose my train of thought. Oh yeah, the habit chaining. The habit is different than routines and rituals, even though rituals can become habits. But let's say you go to church once a week. That's not a habit. That's a ritual or routine. And because you can change up your routine. But if you're in the habit of brushing your teeth, you're going to brush your teeth every day. So what does a healthy person do? That's very vague, okay? A healthy person eats healthy, treats their body in a healthy way. They do healthy things. That's every day, no matter what your routine is. So my routine could be cardio on Monday, strength training on Tuesday, Pilates on Wednesday, skip on Thursday. See what I mean? See the difference? Or even in a workout, you can change out your routine and variety. And you have to change every 3 to 4 months because your body gets used to it. And that's into personal training. So again, your rituals and your routines and your practices, like Christmas comes around, you have your family rituals, you have your family traditions. They're not habits. Your habit really is something you don't think about. So let's say I just got through coaching this person this weekend who was talking to me about her habit of, she really didn't know how to declutter. And she had tried all these podcasts, she tried hypnotherapy, and we had to get down to the nitty gritty of, well, why do you want to declutter? What do you consider clutter? Not what do other people consider clutter? What do you think of clutter? And it really, I'll fast forward, it really came down to, she thought of clutter what other people thought was clutter. Like if her mom came over, if she was afraid to have friends over because she was afraid they would come in and judge her. But for her, it was all fine. So we had to work through, what do you want your home to be like with your 2 new babies? She's got 2 new babies. They're not even a year old. And her husband, what do you want as your home? She wants it lived in, her baby stuff around, and so that people come in and they feel a good vibe. Like if they see that a family lives there, it just has to be clean and hygienic. So for her, if like a puzzle is out and she's working on it, she leaves it there. And somebody walks in, an anthropologist or a sociologist would think, oh, that person does puzzles. Oh, look at that wall. It's full of these trophies. Oh, they've got babies. She just wants her family's home to be their personality. But she was feeling so guilty because when she looks around, it does look cluttered. But we also found out that it's taking energy from her when she looks around and she sees too much. So that was the overwhelm because she also just moved. So fast forward, we got her into a habit of 5 minutes of decluttering a day. And she's like, what good will that do? It's not the point of how much. Let's say you want to start exercising and you don't exercise now or not much or it's not routine. It's not the point of I have to work out an hour 3 times a week. It's like same time, same location, same context. You set yourself up with something that will activate you and help you get in that habit. Like, oh, my keys are on the door. My earbuds are right there. My tennis shoes are by the door. That's my activator. For her, the declutter started with the 5 minutes attached to her morning ritual, which she always did already. So 5 minutes just got her in the habit of picking up a little something, putting away a little something. So now her brain is used to it. Now she's progressed. Now we're on a bigger project that we just started this weekend. But she has really come a long way. And first of all, not feeling that bad vibe. of the clutter, because she was defining clutter at how people were defining it, not her. But now what she considers a little bit of clutter, she cleans up a little something. She's gotten out of the habit of just taking off clothes and throwing it on the floor. That was a habit. She is now, part of her habit is take it off. Should I put it in the hamper or should I hang it up? And that was a hard one for her. And she's a mother and a grown up, but she was conditioned and she conditioned herself. So no more judgment. If you don't want to spend more time and more bad vibes and energy than thinking, oh my God, look at this pile of clothes. Then she got in the habit of, yay, I'm about to put this in the hamper. Yay, I'm about to hang this up. She celebrated herself as she was making the decision, and she did it, and it only took a minute. It's also her habitual way of thinking. Not like, oh, I'm just tired, I'll do it later. You're spending so much, you spend energy putting off something, or you spend energy with a bad habit, or you spend energy procrastinating because in the back of your mind, you decide, no, I don't feel like it. I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to do this other busy thing, or I don't feel like it. I'm just going to rest because I deserve to rest. But you're spending that energy giving yourself the reason why you're not going to do it. Why not have that same energy in your brain already to go ahead and do it, or do a little something? Get in the habit of, I don't feel like it. Okay, I won't do it all. I'll do a little. It's the same energy. You turn it from the bad energy to the good energy. See what I'm saying? So you change your habit as opposed to taking on something new, because people are used to taking on new hacks, new to-dos, new diets, new plans, new tricks. Don't take anything on new. You're already busy. Change what you're doing. Change your habitual way of thinking, or link something new to something you already do.
Absolutely. I like that, because at the end of the day, first of all, this now means we have to have a certain level of personal or self-awareness then, so that you know what it is that you like and what you don't like, and how you can link those two together. So while you were talking, I was just thinking to myself, wow, not a lot of people actually stop and say, you're calling this clutter, but for me, it's a functional office. I'm looking around and I can find everything within my arm's reach. But if my wife comes in here, she throws her hands up and says, but it's functional for me. It works and I'm comfortable in this here space. So many people are taking on other people's influences and other people's ideas for how they should live their life, which then maybe is what causes that procrastination. Because if mom is always in your ear saying, this is clutter, then you now associate that resentment of being told off with the actual cleaning itself, and that habit never then formulates. Is that what I'm gathering from your speech there?
Yeah. And like this one particular client, because I just worked with her this weekend, she has taken on a new project of, she's so happy she does it 5 minutes a day and she puts her clothes away, that we decided, instead of growing the 5 minutes, because she doesn't have more time in her day, instead of that, she took on a project, and I reined her in, and I rein in all my clients. People want to do everything more. They want to do it faster, immediate, automatic. Well, you're not doing it now. It's not going to be immediate. So we decided to expand it to 3 months, because she wanted to do it within a month of start. Like I said, she just moved in her place, I don't know, I'm thinking 8 or 9 months ago, and there's still boxes. So we took on a project and we gave it a name, and every weekend, how much time can she spend? Not 5 hours a day. I mean, she could Saturday and Sunday. And that's just the thing. People think that, well, I can do 30 minutes a day, or I could do, spend a good 5 hours this weekend doing this. In theory, yes, you could. But if you could, you would be. But there's something in there that's keeping you from that. So let's start small. So we reined it into what's really doable in case mud hits the windshield, in case things get in the way. What's the minimum you could do? And she gave herself 3 hours per weekend. It could be an hour Saturday, it could be 2 hours Sunday, or an hour and a half Saturday and an hour and a half Sunday, of just tackling one segment of the room or a box, because she still has boxes. And she's sending me pictures. She's also sending pictures to her friends. I just got rid of this box and I didn't know this was in here. And now her mom's into it too, grandma, taking stuff to this place where people buy things for kids. because her kids are now growing and they're outgrowing stuff. So her mom is in on it too, taking things for donation, but she cleared out a box. She felt like she had just won a gold medal at the Olympics. Yay! And it's a project, and it's just a weekend project instead of I got to do it every day. So you may not think, oh, well, Ronnie, you just said that's a routine. Yes, but it's a project that's doable if it's only the minimum. I know that I can do an hour and a half. If it goes beyond an hour and a half, great. But if you did an hour and a half because that's the easiest, most doable, most realistic, and she's going by her kids' sleeping schedule and eating, and she wants to spend time with them and her husband. If you can do the minimum, that's gold because you did it, because it's doable. And that's what I help people with. What is doable? What's enjoyable? We rank everything. Like they come up with all these behaviors and ideas and tricks and hacks. And, I can do 3 or 4 of these. It's like, well, what one thing can we focus on for now? One thing. Like she started with a 5-minute declutter. It went on to her hanging her clothes. It went on to now she's on a bigger project. What's the one thing that you can conquer, an action, not a habit, as it formulates into a habit, and then you just don't even think about it anymore because it's a habit. So start small. We wind it down. We rein it in. What's the minimum you could do that's easy? Are you equipped for it? Can you do it? Do you have everything that you need? Like, do you have the information? Do you have the resources? Do you have whatever it is? The gear, the equipment? Do you have the time? What's enjoyable? We rank it from like 1 to 5. What's efficient? And there's one more that we usually throw in there. Enjoyable, efficient. Enjoyable, efficient. What was the third one I said? Enjoyable, efficient,
doable,
and easy, and easy.
And easy, yeah.
And we rank them all. And sometimes things are efficient, but they're not going to be enjoyable and they're not easy. But you're a grown person. You get to pick, because we usually people have like 5 or 6 choices. I have what are 10 actions you can take? 10, but then they end up coming up with actions. And okay, out of these 10, what can you do? Well, I can do 4 or 5 of them. But what's the one thing you'll do? Just focus on one. They're always resistant to just focus on one. Then we rank the 5. And if you want to pick the one that has the highest score, yay. But if you don't, you have your reason. You're an adult. And then we just focus on that. And we take it on as a science experiment. Put on your lab coat. There's no failure in science. You're in the lab. All you're doing is tracking data. That's it. It's data. That's it. What's working? What's not? Why is it not working? Okay, we'll tweak it. That's all it is. You're a scientist. Put on your lab coat. And celebrative accountability comes into that. And this is scientific. I call it celebrative because also, Prosper, people tend to resist accountability. You think you want it, and people first come to accountability coaches thinking, I need accountability. But then if something doesn't happen or they don't do something, then they ghost you, they hide, I didn't do it, and they feel like a failure. Or they feel like you're nagging, or like if I have an accountability buddy, then I really have to show up and they hate it. So I call it celebrative accountability. That's just my thing. As you're about to do something, the tiniest little action that's becoming a habit, I'm about to do it. You don't even have to be happy about it. You just say it. Gonna do it as you're walking and go do it. Gonna go get my water. Gonna drink my water. Say it out loud, because our brains are our own computer and we hear that. Don't just think it, say it. Because then your brain goes, okay. And then as you're doing it, drinking my water or decluttering or whatever it is, I'm doing it. I'm picking up this dumbbell. Whatever it is, say it out loud, because then your brain goes, noted, computed, you're capable. And then as soon as you finish, you can be happy or just nothing, like done, did it. But most people start feeling really happy. Did it. It's that sense of you did it. And if you say it out loud, your brain hears it and goes, noted, done it, did it. So at first they start with me, they go on Voxer for the most part. It's an app. And some people just put green check marks, the emoji. Other people write the word done. Other people are like, yay, I did it. Happy dance, GIFs or GIFs, however you say it. But it's whatever it takes just to get yourself to get in the habit of having that instant reward. Because Prosper, our human brain needs dopamine. We need that instant validation. I'm not saying that instant, high. No, not a runner's high. It's just that instant validation. You need that reward because the long-term goals, the long-term vision, the long-term dreams, whether it's in business or your body or relationships, it's got to be out there. But you don't get that long-term reward every day. You're working toward it. So you need that instant reward of what you just did.
Mm.
Not that it was good. Like if somebody wants to start writing, oh, well, that writing wasn't that great, or no, not good or bad. You don't qualify it. You quantify it. You just validate it. Did it. I sat down. I wrote 5 minutes. Done. What does a writer do? They write. What does an artist do? They do their art. What does a salesperson do? They make that call to make that sale. Don't qualify whether I made that sale or not. You made the phone call. That's the habit. See what I'm saying? So celebrate it. Celebrate accountability, because sooner or later, you're not going to be with a coach or an accountability buddy. You're going to love celebrating yourself. I'm going to go do it. I did it. Done.
I like it because at the end of the day, once obviously your brain is chasing that feeling or that dopamine hit, right? And once you hit that, it looks around to see the circumstances that created that, and it will make sure it repeats that over and over again, which then leads to the formation of habits because the brain is seeking for that, like that instant hit. Now, would
Oh,
this
and I have to add to this. You just made me think of this. I just want to add this. Good habit, bad habit alike. The bad habit gives you that dopamine. It gives you that, it fills the void. That's why people mindlessly eat, or they keep watching Netflix even after their alarm goes off and they know they want to go to bed, or whatever it is, snacking at home because you work at home. Whatever that dopamine is, if it's a bad habit, you're going to get a reward. If it's a good habit, you're going to get a reward. So it goes both ways.
whether good or bad. Now you
Yeah.
need to have the discernment and obviously maybe the accountability of maybe those around you or for yourself. For you to then make sure that the habits that you're linking, not stacking, but linking, are going to be helpful for you. Now, with all this, I read somewhere that it does take about 21 days to formulate a habit, and I can see you laughing, but that's what the information we have out here. What's your take on that?
Okay. I laugh because this is the first thing that people ask. And it was the first thing I asked when I started studying. And we got on our mastermind call. And all the research shows that there are so many studies and there are so many different answers. It can take, depending on the human being and the support system around them, anywhere from 21 days to 185 days. That's why it's funny. It all depends, because it's not the number of days, it's not the number of hours, it's not the length of time. Because if I do something once a week, it may not be a habit. It's repetition, repetition, repetition,
Mm,
repetition. I forgot the old joke. How do you get to Carnegie Hall?
uh,
Practice.
practice.
It's just practice, 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 practice. A gold Olympic, the Olympics are on, so it's making me think of that. Won't get, like, in 40 days, if you do this, you'll be the best tennis player. It's like, well, it depends. Did you do it constantly every day for hours? Practice, practice, practice. Or did you just do it for an hour a day? So it depends, not how many hours you got in, but how much practice, and that you're in the habit of doing it. So it's innate, that you're not resisting it, that you don't skip it. It's a habit. So it's interesting that you bring that up, because even when I was a personal trainer, people would ask me on diet or when they want to get stronger, well, should it take like 40 days? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Your body will know. There is no precise answer. And I'll tell you how this came up. A long time ago, I forgot his name. I would have to look it up, but you can look it up. A plastic surgeon in the United States told this lady that it would take about 40 days for something to kick in. And I forget if it was a plastic surgeon in her face. I mean, I don't know. It had to do with habits. No, it had to do with the diet. Okay, it'll take 40 days for this to become a habit for you. He made that up because it was good for marketing, his marketing. And so people stuck with 40 days, the 40-day diet, the 40-day plan, blah, 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 blah. He was also a cosmetologist. He did plastic surgery, but he came up with this diet. So people make up numbers. And yes, I have found when I was a personal trainer, that usually it takes about 3 months for results to be noticeable in your body. That's just the way it was. It took usually people to really lose cravings for something in about 30 to 40 days, because our tongues have taste buds. And it would usually take about a good 30 to 40 days to lose that craving or develop a craving for something, because we weren't born craving something. We just wanted nutrition. We developed the habit in our taste buds of, I like chocolate, or I like this, or I like that. You know what I mean? We weren't born yearning for sugar. So yes, it takes some time and the practice of how you condition yourself, but there's no magic formula, I guess is my answer to you. There's no magic number. It takes practice, repetition, repetition, because your brain gets used to it. Your brain is used to what you do when you get up in the morning. Most of us get up and run to the bathroom. Your brain is used to it. And that's different from addiction. That's different from, I got to have my coffee, because some people need that caffeine. Other people are just used to it because they're used to the taste. So there's a difference.
Absolutely. For me, it signifies to my brain that this is the morning. Now we're doing morning
Yeah.
things and things of that nature. It's not necessarily that, oh, I gotta have my coffee, or people get
Yeah.
blasted, whoever is in my line of sight. No, I don't know if you would agree with this. I noticed this with my kids a lot, and I'm blaming school for this, because every time we try and do something and then they fail at it, they really,
Oh,
take it on themselves, and then they feel like they're inadequate, and that just everything about what they're going to be doing, just has been ruined. And I put it to school. I mean, out of love and respect, because at school you're not meant to fail. You're supposed to get the numbers right. You're supposed to get the grades right. And it's just how, everybody's ingrained. And there will be setbacks in the way to do whatever 40 days or whichever way your body is going to accept, like you have
right.
said. How do you then coach clients to still soldier on through these moments of failure and maybe public embarrassment, to help them stay on track? Because some people I actually see the pain of them failing to maintain that habit bigger than the actual result of, having mastered that habit and now doing it, naturally, without making it look forced or things of that nature.
Well, if we're talking about habits, there's no failure, because you're working toward that habit. If you miss a day, you missed a day. Did you have a backup plan? And I'll talk about that. 2 days in a row, okay, there's something going on. 3 days in a row, that's failure. So failure, if something is not working, we found out why. So there's no failure. Again, back to that experimental lab. Now, if you're talking about school, whether you achieve a certain grade in a certain time, that's rough, because we have learned a lot in the past few decades that kids learn differently, but the school system just wants the masses to go through, right? I didn't know until I was an adult that I'm really an audible kind of kid. I was a kid. I'm not a kid now, but I didn't. And now looking back in retrospection, I would have learned better, faster, certain subjects had I been able to just talk about it rather than read something, take a test, read something, take a test. I'm a different kind of test taker. I do worse in the multiple choice, especially when four out of the, yeah, 4 out of the 5 examples of answers have a little element that is real, that is right. It's like, well, you could argue that this could be right and that could be right, but you give me an oral exam, I jam. And I learn better when I have to explain things. I learn better when I listen to audio. I didn't know that when I was a kid, and I just had to go through and take the exams. So with your kids or with our kids or with anybody else who's trying to achieve something, it's really good that first they do the best that they can. That's it, that they can. Of course, school is competitive, A's, B's, and C's or whatever. But if they're truly doing the best that they can, that's all you can ask. You can't ask for more. And 2, find out what works for them. How do they learn best? Do they have to be quizzed? Do they need a study buddy? That kind of thing. So with my clients, we really find out, again, when we take on an action, remember what's easy, what's doable, what's enjoyable, what's effective, what will be effective. Because if it's not easy to do, we see why. If there are any barriers in the way, have you set yourself up for success? Do you have the resources? Do you have the information? Do you have the right environment, the right support system? You know, you go to work and you may have to, have the right support system in telling your peers certain things or your boss certain things. If I need support in this, I'm trying to get this done. So from this time to this time is my email time. Whatever it is. People call them boundaries. I just call them, hey, I'm letting you know. I need this, and I'd like some support. Or when people are taking on new habits at home, whether it's they need their time for their self-care and their business as well, it doesn't necessarily jive with the rest of the family if it's something new. Again, it's new. People don't like change. That's different from being adventurous. They just don't like the norm change, right? So you have to have that talk. Is your spouse or your partner supporting you? Do they know what you're going through? Do they know what you need? Do your kids know? I like to look at it as information and that talk rather than boundaries. And again, boundaries are for yourself. They're not for anybody else. You can't put boundaries up for everybody else and expect them to respect them or adhere to them. You hope they do, but boundaries are for you. Okay, here are my boundaries. Here's what I need. And I have to maintain my boundaries for me. I'm not going to expect everybody else to adhere to them. If they do, great. I have to uphold my boundaries. Meaning, if you tell your kids, I'm going to do this and this is my time and I'm going to uphold it. If they're still bugging you or they don't respect you or something, it's like, you're on your own. I'm upholding them for me, not to get mad at everybody else. You can't control how other people are. So are you set up so that people will support you, so they'll understand what you need and what you're doing? So again, back to your question is, do you pick what's doable? One tiny action at a time. Again, we can bring this back to business. I was talking to somebody who was like, I have all these great plans and strategies when I go to certain conferences and I try to do all 4 of these things and they come back and they just end up as modules in their computer and they don't get it done. Why? Because they weren't doing them in the first place. So it's something new. So start small. Well, what can you start with to start implementing those great strategies you just came home with or from that course you just took, rather than leaving those modules in your computer? Or you go to a great inspirational conference or motivational, seminar, and then you think you're going to do all these things and you don't, because you weren't doing them before. You come back to real life. So you felt that great inspiration, but inspiration isn't enough. You need momentum, but to get natural momentum, it has to be a habit. Otherwise, you're just depending on willpower and reminding yourself, I need to do it again. And self-motivation, you're just constantly revving up that motivation. You're constantly revving up that goal. You're constantly revving up that discipline. Well, discipline just feels, ugh. Instead of discipline, take a tiny action that will take you to that next step. And those actions are habits. So when you do that, you don't need that willpower anymore. There's no need for discipline because you're the type of person who is doing that. It becomes your identity. So start small, start slow. Slow will get you there faster.
Absolutely. And I quite like that because so many people want to tackle on just about everything else because that seems to be the fad or the trend of the moment. And before you know it, you then realize that you're a little bit too short for this roller coaster and people just let it be and, don't take that a ride. No. Knowing you and your past and what you've been doing, I mean, before the pandemic, you were a fitness trainer and everything else. And now you're into, really helping people with their habits and just their well-being and things of that nature. Have you noticed some sort of unexpected connection between your past experiences and your current coaching methods and, how people can actually benefit from working with somebody who's had both physical and now the mental aspects to be their coach or somebody they can work with?
Well, that's interesting that you asked that. It's unexpected. But when I first became a coach, I shared with you over a year ago, I'm like, what's a life coach? I was like really cynical because I was very pragmatic. And I thought, that's for something like for Real Housewives of something, And then when I looked up life coaching, I saw so many niches and so many specialties like midlife coach, menopause coach, relationship coach, divorce coach, entrepreneurial coach, executive coach. I'm like, wow. So I decided to take it seriously. And that's when I decided to go to school through an ICF accredited institution. And I loved it. And for me, my evolution has really been that at first you're all scared, like, oh my gosh, I'm learning all this stuff and all the practice hours. And, you have to have a mentor coach, make sure that, they audit your sessions and that you're doing it correctly. But you get past that. Just I'm assuming, like, if you're a doctor, you go through the residency and the internship, and then it's like, oh my God, I got to perform my first surgery, and now I have my own clientele. Of course, you can do it. You just got to have that first, you know. Um, but I am much more comfortable now, and hey, I can relate, and I listen. Most of the coaching sessions, I'm listening more than I don't give advice because coaches aren't supposed to do that. We're not consultants. We are prompting what's inside of you. And that's the Yoda part, I call it. You have the answers inside of you. I help prompt people with self-reflective questions to get out from what you believe about something and what you think will work, and you get it out of you. And then I help you implement that. I guide you. I hold you accountable. I challenge you, all of that. But what's really changed for me, as I was saying, is that I can relate, and that's okay. That's more than okay. That's fabulous. I just turned 59. I'm going to be 60. I'm like, when did that happen? I was just 25 yesterday. I was 33 a week ago. It's like, when did that happen? I feel younger than ever. But I have the wisdom now of life experience. And so I can relate, and I hear them. It's like, I hear you. I understand. That doesn't mean my experience is your experience. You can only know what it feels like to be in your shoes, in your experience, but I can relate. And it's okay to bring that. I've gone through 4 or 5 career transitions in my life. So I get it. So when I first took on my first guy who was thinking of totally changing his career into something he had never done before, I was scared, but dove right in. It's like, well, you know what? I understood the basic feelings and the job searching and trying to, and instead of transferable skills, we went into what are your capabilities? Your proven capabilities. What are you capable of? Well, if you did this, are you capable of doing that? He totally turned his career around. He ended up not changing careers, but growing in the industry he was in, which he was bored with, and he wanted to do more with his life. And then I started taking on more career transitions, especially men and women in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, especially in their 50s. Look at that. People after the pandemic wanted to grow, change vocation or change careers or start their own business or grow in the company they were in. I'm not a business coach, but I brought in my life experience and my experience in career and brought in my life coaching into them growing in their career or them transitioning. And I've also brought that into life transitions. This woman came to me a year and a half ago. She had been thinking about getting a divorce for 20 years. And year after year, she kept thinking about it. I'm like, I'm not a divorce coach. But we went into that. I have been divorced once. I got how she felt. It's a total turnaround of your whole life and the realizations that come with divorce. So I brought that in, not to her. I didn't talk about me. I just tapped into that for me to be able to coach her and serve her. And she did make a decision. And I'm not going to tell you what that is, but she made the right decision for her. And what a relief she finally, after thinking all those years about it, what to do with her life. I will tell you, she never did get the divorce, but their life is so much better. So I guess how I've evolved and grown is, yeah, I'm growing and I'm bringing in me. So whatever accreditation you see a coach have, I would celebrate you also looking at what does this person have to bring, not just the certification, but what does that person have to bring? Because every coach has their style, and that's good.
Absolutely. And I quite like that about you. And what would be the best way that people can get started on their journey with you? Just maybe find out, if they're a perfect fit to work with you and actually start enjoying these remarkable transformations that you're offering.
And it is transformation. That sounds all woo-woo to many people. Yeah, bring in the woo if you want. But transformation is really transforming yourself. You're still you, but instead of just getting information, you're actually changing and improving what it is you want to improve in your life, whatever aspect it is. And you and I found each other on LinkedIn. I really welcome a chat. It's just a chat, because I used to be afraid of going on chats with people that called it discovery calls or strategy calls, because I always thought, oh my God, it's a sales call. Relax. I don't like sales calls either. I would love to meet you if you want to meet me, and we could talk about, what are you thinking? What do you think of this podcast? You have many more questions. Bring it more detailed and defined to how what you're thinking about for you, and we'll have a nice conversation. If we connect and you think, hey, I would like to coach with you in this aspect, great. And if you don't, fine, let's stay connected. Maybe I have different resources for you, different people, because I have referred people to other people, and other coaches have referred other people that weren't their fit or their niche to me. So I do invite you to get on ronnielowlifecoach.com, ronnielowlifecoach.com, and or find me on LinkedIn and just shoot me a DM or ronnielowlifecoach.com. There's where you can submit your information. And my Calendly link is on there, and we'll schedule a chat.
Absolutely. I'll definitely make sure those links are in the show notes below so that people
Hey.
can actually start experiencing this awesomeness. Now, Ronnie, I just learned something new, and obviously I'm gonna try and for lack of a better word, use it to both our advantage. Now, you have told me you are an auditory learner type person, and obviously we have this platform and you're always learning and coming up with new ideas. I think we should make this a regular occurrence. When there's something new, you come and teach us for half an hour, 45 minutes. And obviously, yeah, that could be something we could actually get used to, maybe create a habit out of it.
Oh, yeah. Or a tradition. No, I would love to, because we can get more into specific, like a specific thing. Like I've been on weight loss summits. I've been on business strategies summits, because we get more defined into what is this audience coming for? You know what I mean? And so we just talk about that. I spoke on a financial one because we have financial habits. Or we should. We already have our habits, whether they're good or bad. I mean, some people never even look at their finances, or they look at it every 4 or 5 months. And so we have financial habits, so whatever it is, we could do a more, not defined, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a definite little topic. And we could do a talk about that.
Absolutely. Well, maybe the next one should be, what sort of habits should people start cultivating in this world of AI now that some habits can actually be done automatically by technology. So how then can people make sense of the world around them? That could be something that we could actually have a sit down around, because so many people showing up to jobs, first of all, during the pandemic, that never needed them, and now they're expected to be stuck in traffic and still show up at these particular jobs. And for them, they want to expand, do more, have more, feel more, and become more alive. So what sort of habits can they actually start cultivating today that will then lead them
Yeah,
to the kind of roles that they want? I think that would be something that you and I can
that
just
would
have a
be
sit down around and see how we can help people formulate these habits and work on their own personal growth.
absolutely. I'd love to. I want to leave you with this. That has nothing to do with that. Well, it does. You made me think of AI. I go to 2 or 3 different ones just to see how they would rewrite something, but I always demand it in my tone. I ask for it. I'm in the habit of conversing with my AI. Would you please do that? I say please and thank you. And when I don't agree with the AI, it's like, no, that's not my tone. That's not my style. That sounds too salesy. I converse with my AI. Isn't that weird?
Oh no, you're not. You see, the thing is, they always say that the internet or the AI or the computers are gonna come and take over.
I
So
know.
if you were kind enough, they would spare you, and be like, "Oh, he was nice. She was nice to us. He was nice to us."
Just
So,
stay on their good side. No, but the
well,
thing is, I'm in the habit of being polite. I'm in the habit of conversing. So that's how I deal with my AI. You know?
absolutely. You see, how you do anything is how you do everything, and this is the reason
Exactly.
why it's such a pleasure having you on the show today. And
Thank you. It's
thank
always a pleasure to see you.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for sharing your valuable insights and obviously your inspiring journey with us and you really showcasing what you've learned. I viscerally believe in life. We're here to live, to learn, and to contribute. You know what I mean? And you've lived the life, you've done the lessons, and now you're just sending the elevator down for those that are willing to learn and creating shortcuts and links, like you have said, just so that people can be, do, and have a happier existence. So thank you so much for that. And yeah, I can't wait for the next edition that we're gonna come up with.
My pleasure.
Absolutely. And if you're watching this right now, thank you so much. I know this one was a bit of a long one, but hey, when greatness is amongst us, who are we to stop, receiving and learning from those that have actually paved the way? And if you consider the content and the information that you received today as vital, why don't you consider subscribing to this online channel? And if maybe it's not for you, maybe share it with somebody who's struggling to maintain and keep or formulate healthy habits around themselves. It could actually be the best thing that you have done for somebody today. Until next time, thank you so much and hope you keep leveling and taking action. Bye for now.